Hi, I'm Simon Young from DuncanFitnessCentre.com, and we're going to look at the first workout from the current phase using bands and body weight. First exercise is going to be a push press. So take the appropriate band, stamp on it with feet about hip width apart. Squat down, put your palm under the band, elbows go inside, then stamp. You want to lock out those legs. Grip the floor with the feet like you're going to start a squat. Neutral pelvis, that means squeeze your bum, pull the band apart, feel the shoulder blades pull together. From this position, you dip the knees slightly, then drive the feet hard into the floor, press the band overhead. In the overhead position, pull the band apart a little, and then pull the band back to the chest to begin this motion, so we get a pulling as well as a push. You dip, explode up, pull it down. Dip, explode up, and pull it down. Do not do a continual drop, press, drop. You want to keep those abs tight on the way down and then start the movement again. From there, you're going to go into a bent over row. Put the band around your wrists. Grab it and grab it. Stamp on the band. Stick your hips back to get a neutral spine. Keeping that nice neutral spine, shoulders down. You're going to row your wrists to your hips, pulling your shoulder blades down and back. Pull it down and back. It doesn't matter how high the elbow goes, it's about moving those shoulder blades down and back. From there, you're going to go into either the reverse lunge or a slightly more dynamic version. On the reverse lunge, we want to keep a nice near vertical shin where we step back and down. Going to drive through that front heel and midsole using the glute to come up to the top. Back and down, nice tall torso, drive up to the top. However, we can make this a little bit more dynamic and a little more fun. Go down and back and touch the floor like you're a sprinter. From here, drive up, control back. Drive up, control back. So in a sprint position, we're driving off that heel, transferring weight to the midsole and then the toe to get the pop. Use the arms and control it back. So that's your first tricep. Push press, row, then either reverse lunge or the sprinter start. Next up, we have a plank pull down, just as demonstrated in the workout descriptions for today. We have something a little different, an overhead squat to work shoulder stabilization, a high pull or a variation on that, and then a hip raise. First one out is going to be the plank pull down. Securely mount your band. I prefer to wrap it around the wrist so grip isn't going to be an issue. The biggest problem is most people do not get enough tension on the band. You want to go back far enough that you feel a tension on the band before you get in plank position. From there, come into your plank, either a low plank on forearm or a high plank. Shoulders are square, hips are square, don't let them turn. Row, control down. We want to keep those hips nice and square to the shoulders. A lot of the time when people do this, they turn their hips. Get those hips square, brace that core, keep it square while you row. Next up, we're going to go into an overhead squat. There are two ways of doing this. The first way, take your band, put it overhead, and pull it apart a little. Really contract your shoulder blades. Keeping the band pulled apart, contracting those shoulder blades, sit down and back, and then stand back up. Do not lose tension on the band. Second variation is a little trickier. You stand on your band, you take the band and you push press it overhead, and then pull it apart, like you were in the push press. From there, you sit down and back, and control it back up. Do not shrug your shoulders. Do not lose that tension on the band. You're trying to stabilize the shoulders just like you would in the farmer's walk. Next, high pull or a pull jack. On the high pull, Stamp on your band, put a twist in the band. I prefer to go thumb width apart. Shoulders back, slight dip in the knees. From there you drive up, pull the band apart. You're trying to squeeze those shoulder blades together. Drive up, control down. Drive up, control down. Remember to get the squeeze in the shoulder blades. For something a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more fun, you're going to add a jump jack motion. Top of the movement, you've got to brace those abs nice and hard. Final one is a hip raise. There are a few variations on the hip raise and a few ways to make it a little tougher. Variation 1, lie on the floor, equally squeeze the glutes first, raise, brush the floor, raise. To make it tougher, elevate the hands. Tougher still, put your thumbs on your temples. Not enough, elevate one leg. Keep the thighs parallel. Do not have the leg up here. Get those thighs parallel, drive through the hip, and control down. Only drive to parallel legs. Do not hyperextend at the spine. Still not enough, take a band. Put the band over your hip bones and pull it apart. Place your hands on the floor. That will then give you some resistance on that band. The band's trying to pull you down, you're trying to push your hips up. Still not enough? Heavier band. Same thing. Band goes over, pin down the hips, drive on up, control back down. You're trying to really contract the glute and the hamstring in this movement. So that's your first workout in this phase. Push press, bent over row, then either a reverse lunge or a sprint start. Next grouping, plank pull down, an overhead squat with either a loose band or with the band wrapped, high pull or a jack pull, finally the hip raise.